Hello, this is Mark Knopfler. The first time I heard Chet, I was probably about 14 or 15, and I just assumed it was multi-tracking and that it was impossible to play all those notes at one time on a guitar, so I just didn't think it was possible. I suppose I was trying to do things like... And I thought it was probably the sum total of my musical ability on the guitar, but if I heard... I just thought, well, that's another planet, and you don't ever get to be able to play like that. The basis of fingerpicking is your thumb on the bottom 3 strings and your fingers on the top 3. And you get a rhythm going with your thumb on the bottom strings, like 4 to the bar, for instance, would be... And then once you get used to doing that, you start putting the fingers go in the spaces, you know, sort of... and so on and so forth, and then you start picking out tunes in the chord. And so on. And you play ragtime, you learn how you develop it and build on it until you can do all sorts of things. In fact, the first time I heard him playing, I think it was Lady Madonna, the Beatles song, and he played Lady Madonna, but he also did the whole thing, bass line, you know. So there was, you know... And there's a, you know, and he's doing the whole two of them together. And then he did a thing where he's playing some of the mind-boggling bit of, you know, circus stuff. What was it? He plays Yankee Doodle Dandy and Dixie at the same time. And I remember some folk worthy, I can't remember his name, who plays things like this, you know. Who everybody thinks is amazing, said something about how Chet had obviously multi-tracked all this stuff, you know. And it's the only time I've ever known Chet be upset. And he actually wrote into this particular publication, whoever it was, and said, so-and-so must, you know, should understand that, you know, there was no double tracking and, you know, with practice, it's perfectly possible to... I had a little friend when I think I met him first when I was about 9. And his sister had some records and had a hi-fi. Amongst those records were the Everly Brothers. And the Everly Brothers became an incredibly important part of my musical background, and he would be one little Everly and I would be the other one. I didn't realize that, of course, that was Chet playing on those records and fixing those records, arranging those records. I probably only found out in my later teens that was Chet. One of the things that I remember is the tremolo guitar, the tremolo on the amp. Something like dream, 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 all I have to do is dream, you know. And also something like, was it? We used to have good times together, you know, and then there's those lovely little lines, and of course you realize that without Chet, the Everlys wouldn't have made the sound that they made, and the arrangements wouldn't have come out the way they did, and then the Beatles and lots of other people wouldn't have been influenced in the way that they were, because I think the Beatles were very influenced by the Evs. And so then you can say, it's quite fair to say that Chet's had a bearing on the way that we actually comprehend, the way that we have learned to listen to popular music.
Bye-bye love, bye-bye happiness, hello loneliness, I think I'm gonna cry.
I made a record called Stay Tuned, and I had done some sides with George Benson, which we couldn't release. We couldn't get our record labels to talk. They were upset at each other. But I got permission to use 2 of the tunes in Stay Tuned. Then Earl Klugh had me play on some of his records, and I thought, well, he owes me one, so I got him to play. And then the producer, David Hungate, great bass player from Toto, he suggested, well, so, I can get Larry Carlton and a lot of these guys to play on it. So we got other players to play on it, and I was out in a store getting some speakers put in my car, and some Mark Knopfler, some Dire Straits albums laying there, and I played one of them, and I thought, I believe that guy has heard me. I believe he sounds like me in certain areas. And so I told my manager, I said, a guy I really admire, I think he plays great, is Mark Knopfler. I wish I could get him on this album. And he said, well, I know his manager, Ed Bicknell. Said, I'll call him. So he called me back and says, call Mark at 6 o'clock tonight. So I called Mark, and Mark told me later, right before the call was going to come, he took a big snort of bourbon or something.
Yeah, man, it's not every day that Chet Atkins calls you up and asks you to play guitar with him on a record, That was a real thrill. And I went straight over there, and Chet met me at the airport, and, straight off something to eat, and we just started playing, and he had a player that with him, a friend of his called Paul Yandell, who plays live with Chet all the time. And when we started playing, Chet said, hell, Paul, he said, look at the length of that thumb. Look at his thumb. And I'd never really looked at my thumbs before. So Chet made some comparison, the length of my thumb with the length of something else. And it just went on from there, really. It was always good fun. And we just became friends through that. He had something he wanted me to play on, and so I played on it. I can't really remember what it was, but it got a Grammy. Because Chet and I were both pickers, I suppose that we had that certain amount of common ground, and plus we both used to fall asleep practicing, so I suppose we had something in common in terms of the pick. When we played together, we were both doing pretty much the same sort of thing. The 2 albums that Chet made that made most impression on me were the albums that he did, the one Merle Travis and the one with Les Paul, so Chester and Lester, and those 2 are the ones that I probably had most pleasure out of. And I think those 2 records I like very much because they seem to be nice and loose and quite happy records, and fairly rootsy, and not too much in this easy listening jazz thing that Chet would be attracted to every now and again. And when it was time for us to make a record, I was interested in Chet's country roots much more than this jazz thing, and I didn't mince my words, about that. He knows that he was always going to get it straight from the... So with me, I'm going to tell him what I think, and I just really thought that he should get away from this easy listening jazz music stuff, and I couldn't stand it then, I can't stand it now, and he knows that. And I like his singing, and I like just the old thumb and one finger and singing and these country roots. And I think that's really, that Atkins, Travis stuff, that's where the roots of Chet's playing are. When I heard I'll See You in My Dreams, for instance, it's this sort of playing. So it's an old tune, but nice to pick.
You play at a little higher level, I think, when you play with somebody else, because you try a little harder. maybe to impress the guy you're playing with, and you try to come up to his level and so on, and you try to play things that will inspire him to play licks off of what I've played. And yeah, it's a great experience, especially if you're around a friend who admires you like he admires me and like I admire him. I think he's one of the great players around. He doesn't know it, you know. He doesn't think he's a great player, but he is. And so it's great to play with musicians of his caliber.
I think Chet's always just been a sucker for these little tunes, you know, which is one of the great things about him. I think what people forget is that Chet's quite happy to sit in his kitchen and play Kentucky or something like Just One Time with 2 chords in it, as he is to playing a piece of Segovia or playing something really complicated if he plays something. And I think that that's probably where he and I meet so well, that we meet across the simple stuff, you know, and we part company probably when it gets more complicated.
There'll be a change in the weather and...
You've played before. Chet Atkins is inspirational because he'll write you a letter or call you up on the phone talking about a new tuning that he's discovered or something, things that I would never bother with and I would never be interested in hunting down and finding out. And he's a reminder about staying in touch with and serving your talent and your gift and respecting it. And he's a great reminder for me to do that, to pay attention. And the thing with Chet and music is that he's always melodic. He'll always improvise melodic. He'll always play melody. Which is really essentially why Chet is not a jazz guitarist. He's not a jazz instrumentalist, really. As he says, I mean, Chet would just say, I don't know what the hell you'd call it. But what it is I think he's always been massively interested in harmony. So in other words, Chet will always play, he'll always play. There'll always be more than one note playing. He'll play in 2 sets, or a lot of his stuff is, you know, like that. So, and whereas other people would be, you know, but Chet would always have something, you know, he'll always have interesting chords, but he's not really a jazzer. Chet loved the melodic and the emotional in music. So I think that's just it, that his love for music is so great, his love for the guitar is so great that nothing would make him stop, nothing would make him lay it down and leave it. He's full of jokes, you know, and every time that we're on the telephone, he'll always tell me a joke. And so then I remember when we did this thing where we played Imagine on this charity thing, and he came off and we went back to the dressing room and he said, well, fooled him again.
Well, that's the end of the Chet Atkins story, I guess. Some of it. I'll leave you like I close my shows. I'll tune up after I get through with this. It's been something seeing you again, and in the time we've had to spend, you've been so nice to be around. I thank you for the special thrill to keep me going on until the next time I'm in town. Thank you, Mark Knopfler, for that song.
You've been listening to Chet Atkins, certified guitar player. The interviews were by Pete Frame and the producer, Kevin Howlett. And the program is a Howlett media production for BBC Radio 2.
People always say what comes first, lyrics or music. I can't remember how it came about. I think you have to trust yourself to a certain extent. You have to go with what's happening. What something tells you what should come next. And not necessarily lyrically, I mean, certainly musically it happens to me a lot. I remember in Elvis, when I was doing it, I was doing Calling Elvis. I might go back to the other song. It's all, there's this pedal steel lick, and it had to stop. It had to come to us. I knew it had to come to a stop. I just knew it had to stop there and have that thing. I just don't remember, like, years and years ago, doing a song called Tunnel of Love, and to me it had to have that, that sort of stop. Why it comes to you at that point, it has to happen there, I don't know. I have no idea where that idea of what comes next really comes from. So when you say I don't understand that process particularly, no. I mean, I started years and years ago in folk joints because I didn't have the money for an amplifier. I really wanted to play rock and roll, so I learned how to fingerpick. It just seemed to me to be the right frame for it. It's just picking, I learned how to pick. I learned how to fingerpick, which is, it's just really, it was just picking. You need a big thumb. I've got a big thumb. And your thumb's going up and down like this. That's it, that's all it is. Yeah. Just like a simple tune, that's all it is, nothing special.
I should say that in between Roger's interviews with me, the last one was, I think, when I was producing a Randy Newman record, and one before that, I think we're talking about an album called Brothers in Arms. Both very enjoyable experiences, and always, over the years, in between that and touring with Eric Clapton and doing film scores and other things, I was making a record with some old friends of mine that I've known even longer than Roger, from Leeds and places. And we called ourselves the Nothing Hillbillies, and I was recording them at home. And we found out what had happened to Roger. When we were one track short on this album, we were just about to do the last song. I got a telephone call at my little home studio. And Ed, my manager, said, let's send the tape straight over to Roger. And I said, well, we'd love to do that, but there's this last song to do, which has got to be on there, because it's appropriate that Roger should hear this song. And of course, life being what it is, Roger went and left us before I could get it to him. So, even though I'm not really the man to sing this song, it's sung by somebody who really can sing. Roger, if you're up there, this is the last track on side 2 of a Hillbillies record. Lord, I feel like going home. Tried and I failed. I'm tired and weary. Everything I ever done was wrong. And I feel like going home. Lord, I try to see it through. Too much for me. Now I'm gray skies rolling in. Not a friend around to help me. From all the places I have been. And I feel like going home. Lord, I feel like going home. I tried and I failed. Tired and weary. Everything I ever done was wrong. And I feel like going home.
It has been pointed out in the press and television that this programme is actually going out in America as well, but I'm here to reassure British viewers that we're not making any compromise as a result of that. Now, the next guys on have an apartment just a few blocks down from Buckingham Palace. What? Oh, yickety die. Anyone in from Philadelphia? Yo, give me 5. Here they are. Will you give a big New Orleans round of applause? For here they are, the Notting Hill Bennies. Whoa!
Do what you want to, go your own sweet way. You'll go your own sweet way. You'll go your own sweet way. Now I can talk to you serious, I can talk to you nice, but when it comes to love, you won't
take good advice. You'll go your own sweet way. Yeah, you'll go your own sweet way. Doesn't matter what I say, what I do, what I think. You can lead a horse to water, can't make him drink. You'll go your own sweet way. I say you'll go your own sweet way.
La guitare, c'est le premier amour de Mark. Reconnu immédiatement comme l'un des instrumentistes les plus doués du moment, on le retrouve invité chez Steely Dan, Phil Lynott, Bob Dylan encore, Phil Everly ou Van Morrison. Une guitare qu'il ne quitte jamais et sur laquelle il s'amuse le soir, seul dans les studios. Leader de groupe, Session Man, Mark ajoute début 82 des musiques de films à son palmarès. Et ça commence avec celle de Local Hero de l'Écossais Bill Forsyth qui vient juste de sortir sur les écrans français.
Hier zijn ze, Mark Knopfler en Alan Clark.
Mark Knopfler and the band. For the past 6 weeks, this album, Brothers in Arms, has been the #1 record in the United States. The single, Money for Nothing, is also #1, and I'm sure my next guest and his band, Dire Straits, are very happy and very wealthy. It's a pleasure to welcome. What are you doing here, sir?
We're going to do an old one, Expresso Love.
Okay. Terrific. Mark Knopfler, ladies and gentlemen, from Dire Straits.
Sun in the daytime, she get the perfume in the dust, and she come out in the nighttime with the honeysuckle musk. Oh, and she smells just like a rose, she tastes just like a peach now. She got me walking where the wildlife goes, I'd do anything to reach her. She was made in heaven, heaven's in my world. She was made in heaven, yeah, heaven's in my world. Just Expresso Love, crazy for this girl, crazy for the girl. Yeah, she called me just to talk, she my lover, she's a friend of mine. Saying, hey mister, you wanna take a walk out in the Wild West End? Me some tight, get the trouble with the breathing. She just says, well boys, they don't know anything. I know what I want to tease them. Yeah, I just want everything. She was made in heaven, heaven's in my world. She was made in heaven, where heaven's in my world. Just Expresso Love, crazy for this guy, crazy for the girl. Feels so good, I feel so good, so good it feels so right. I was made to go with this girl just like a saxophone. Was baby good enough? All right, you can sing. Yeah, she raised one eyebrow, she put her hand on my hip, and I closed one eye now. Sweat on her lip when I surrender to the breeze, I surrender to the weight of the night. When she loved me so tender, I'm gonna believe her. You talk about love, Expresso Love, and so bad. She was made in heaven, heaven's in my world. She was made in heaven, heaven's in my world.
Very nice. Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you very much. Mark, you're in the middle of a tour, a long tour. You're at Radio City this week, and I know you wanted to mention, in addition to the tour, this publication here.
Bob Geldof came by and gave me this the other night just to tell people about it. It's
Worldwide Concert Book, Live Aid.
The Live Aid book, which is full of zany pics of all the boys and girls who were involved in this thing, and it's, as you can see, fun packed, and it's worth having because all the money's going in the right direction. So it'll be in the shops in the next few days.
Terrific. Thank you very much for your time tonight. You sound great. Thank you. And we're going to do one later. We'll be right back, folks, with Marv Albert. Here.
Die Gärten des Omiyasento-Palastes in Kyoto zählen zu den schönsten in Japan. Für eine Weile kann Prinz Charles den offiziellen Anlass seiner Reise vergessen. Hier ist er privat. Ein Mann, der sich für Gärten und fürs Malen interessiert. Ein Spaziergang, bei dem die Sicherheitsbeamten sich im Hintergrund halten.
And then the greatest thing happened. Paddy Maloney... Mark Knopfler... and George Martin were all there, in my dream, playing my tune.
next guest is a five-time Grammy winner and one of the world's great guitar players. He and his band, Dire Straits, of course, have sold 85 million albums worldwide. This is his brand new solo CD entitled Golden Heart. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a real pleasure to have him on The Late Show. Say hello to Mark Knopfler. Mark!
Daddy's little boy, he plays with his toy. He hold on to his daddy's hand. His daddy says, son, you're a big, strong boy. You're gonna be a big, strong man. And they go play catch, they go play ball, go take a walk along the sand. Big, strong daddy, big, strong boy, living in a big, strong land. Now, daddy, is he a goodie or a baddie? Daddy kinda have a dinosaur. Once upon a time there were cannibals, now there are no cannibals anymore. Way down Louisiana there's a hurricane coming. The little boy trying to stay. And all along the levee the people come running. The little boy saying his prayer. And the sleepy little laddie smiled up at his daddy. He's asking for a G.I. Joe. Daddy took him in, a kiss upon the chin, saying, my little one, I love you so. Now, daddy, is he a goodie or a baddie? Leave a light outside the door. Once upon a time there were cannibals, now there are no cannibals anymore. Well, lay down to your head, now don't get out of bed. Don't you let the bed bugs bite. It's time to go to sleep now, not another people. I'll see you in the morning light. When the radio's playing and the weatherman is saying a hurricane is blowing away. Daddy's little boy, he's jumping up for joy and he was singing at the break of the day. Yeah, daddy, is he a goodie or a baddie? Daddy, can I be a warrior? Once upon a time there were cannibals, now there are no cannibals anymore. Oh, daddy, is he a goodie or a baddie? Daddy, why do people go to war? Once upon a time there were cannibals, now there are no cannibals anymore.
Thank you very much for being back here. We're going to do a commercial. We'll chat with Mark in a couple of minutes. Come on back, folks. Have a seat. Thank you very much, Mark. That was great. Welcome back to the program. You were on our old show many years ago.
That's right.
Great to have you back here with us now. You getting ready to go on tour? You going around the world, one of those deals?
Well, I don't know about around the world. It's a baby one. It's only 4 months. We used to do things for about 1 or 2 years at a time.
How did that work? You would actually be away from home that length of time? Or
Well,
you'd
no,
go
you
out
do
for-
them in legs.
Yeah.
Just legs, and you have a break. And actually, in between tours, in fact, the the band sort of breaks up for about 7 or 8 years at
Right.
a time. I mean, it just seems...
Take a little vacation.
Yeah, we spend longer broken up than doing
Now,
it.
what is the status of Dire Straits? Now, you are coming back together for this tour, for this CD, or not?
No, this is another band, but the band thing is... We're in one of those probably 5 or 7 years of
I see.
the long sleep.
Taking a hiatus, sure.
But we're friends and everything else. We may do some charity shows.
Well, that'd be great. I think people would really be very excited about that. Have you seen the piano? It's right over there. Don't worry about it. Where do you live now?
I live in London.
You spend all your time there?
Pretty much. Well, I find myself traveling, chasing songs around the world a little bit. So with this record, I've been to Ireland, to Tennessee quite a lot, twice backwards and forwards, maybe 3 times. And they know me at all the airports. And Louisiana as well.
Wow. So you've been doing a lot to accumulate material for the CD.
Sort of.
Yeah. You know, what I like about, many things that I like about your music, but many of the songs to me, and this is just my observation, seemed like to you they were autobiographical, or things that had come from your life, experiences and observations that you had enjoyed.
Well, some things. I think it's a little bit of reality and it's a little bit of something else. But I mean, it's a mystery. It still is to me. I love it all, but if I understood it, then it wouldn't really be a song to me. It would be something that you just write down in a diary.
It's sort of the dynamic. This is something that maybe like you dreamed. It's sort of that version of reality. It's all been sort of filtered.
Well, possibly. I certainly know that I get ideas when I wake up in the morning. I'm standing around in the shower, and if it's still there by the time I finish shaving, sometimes I take notice of it. Other times, it just vanishes. And whether that exists after that, where do it go?
Yeah.
Is the question.
I
don't know.
I have no idea.
I forget a lot of stuff.
Especially tonight, I have no idea.
Prematurely, I think
the CD, Mark Knopfler, Golden Heart, and look for tour dates coming soon, and maybe some reunions here and there, special events with you and your old band, Dire Straits.
Oh, yeah, it's always great.
Yeah, great to see you. Thank you very much for being here. Mark Knopfler, ladies and gentlemen. Is that it?
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest guitarists in the world, Mr. Mark Knopfler. Yes. How's it going?
It's going fine. Thank you very much for having me.
It's my pleasure. Nice to see you.
Yeah, well, we'll soon put that right.
So the song that we're going to do now, we've been wanting to do it for
Yes,
quite a
well,
while.
actually, I think it might have been your son, I don't know, but somebody wrote me a letter about 4 years ago saying that you liked to hear this song when you were after a long show and you put the phones on and you're on the bus, and we all need good bus tunes, don't we?
Exactly.
When our ears are bleeding and
Yes,
we're
right.
exhausted.
Well, it really is great, and you did a great job with it. So.
Well, that's very sweet of you.
So I've always wanted to do it with you.
Well, now's a chance to do it in front of some genuine people.
Okay. Lord, I feel like going home. I tried and I failed, and I'm tired and weary. Everything I done was wrong. And I feel like going home. Lord, I tried to see it through, but it was too much for me. Now I'm coming home to you, and and I feel like going home. Cloudy skies are rolling in, and not a friend to help me from all the places that I've been. And I feel like going home. Lord, I feel like going home. I tried and I failed, and I'm tired and weary. Everything I'd done was wrong, and I feel like going home.
How'd you do, Mark?
Hello there.
How'd you do, Hugh?
Hello there.
Okay, can we just, for the sake of the music fans here, so we can just know exactly who's going to play what. Hugh, which bit are you going to play now?
It'll be so carefully interwoven, you'll never know who's who.
Right, okay, let's see. Mark, which bits do you do?
You won't see the joints. You won't hear
Which bits do you?
Let's see.
Was that not the right musical phraseology?
It's a bit early in the morning for sort of...
Dexterity. That sounds good to me. Live music today from Hugh and Mark and Jimmy, and this is called
Love. Now, don't get nervous, lads. Love is real. Real is love. Love is feeling. Love is wanting,
touch is love. Love is reaching, reaching love. Love is asking to be loved. Their love is you, you and me. Love is knowing we can be. Love is free, free is love. Love is living, living love. Love is needed to be loved. Love is you, you and me. Love is knowing we can be. Love is free, free is love. Love is living, living love. Love is needing to be loved. Walking on cobblestones, just little bits of skin and bone. Jumping on a tram car for a ride. I can remember then, 'cause I was just a boy of 10, hanging around the old quayside. Now all the capstans and the cargo boats and stevedores are gone to where all the old ships go, but memories just like the seas live on. 'Cause that was when coal was king, the river was a living thing, and I was just a boy, but it was mine, the coaly time. For this was a big river, I want you all to know I was proud. This was a big river, but that was long ago. That's not now. That's not now. My father was a working man. He earned a living with his hands. He had to cross the river every day.
picked up a Union card out of the Neptune yard. Mouths to feed and bills to pay. That was your line. There came a time for him to sail across the seas and far away. Finally, when that war was won, you brought him home, and home he stayed. And when his days were done under a golden sun, you took him back to where he longed to be, back to the sea. For this was a big river, I want you all to know I was proud. You gonna sing? This was a big river, but that was long ago. That's not now. That's not now. Neptune was the last to go. I heard it on my radio, and then they played the latest #1 on Capitol. What do they do all day? And what are they supposed to say? What does a father tell his son? If you believe that there's a bond between our future and our past, and try to hold on to what we have, rebuilding strong, rebuilt to last. 'Cause this is a mighty town, it's built upon a solid ground, and everything they've tried so hard to kill, yes, we will. For this was a big river, I want you all to know I'm so very proud. This was a big river, but that was long ago. That's not now. And this is a big, big river, and in my heart I know it will rise again. The river will rise again. And a Merry, Merry Christmas to you all.
Hang on a minute.
Oh, now.
Yeah, it was.
That was a guess. It was an incorrect guess, but that was good. Thank you very much.